Srila Prabhupada flooding the whole universe with Krishna Prema ki jai. Jaya Krishna Bhadavaham Astatarjavishishima. Here's the 9 grace. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Ananda Gauri Vaishnavanda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Ramsakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Mayapur Dham ki jai. Navadip Dham ki jai. Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai, Yamuna Mai ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaura Premananda. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Guranga. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Vishnu Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityananda. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nivishai Shri Srimati. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th Canto, Chapter 13, Rahugana converses with Jagabharat, text number 9. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Rachit Nigirna Ajagara Ahina Jana Na Avaiti Kinchit Vipine Apavidha Dashta Sma Shete Kvacha Dandashukai Antha Andakupe Patita Tamisre Kvachinya Girno Jagarahina Jano Navaiti Kinchid Vipine Pravidha Vashtasmas Shete Kvachadanda Shukar and Honda Kupe Patitastamisre Kvachinagirno Jagaharhinajano Navaiti Kinchid Vipine Pravidha Dashtasmashete kvachadanda shukar Onda kupe patitastamisre Someone else?
Kvachinnikirno jagarahina jano
Kvachinnikirno jagarahina jano
Navaiti kinchit vipine pavidda
Navaiti kinchit vipine pavidda
Dasmasete kvachadanda shukhaya
Dastasmasete kvachadanda shukhaya Anhonda kupe patitastamisre Anyone else? Ladies? Kvachinnikirno jagarahina jano Navaiti kinchit vipine pavidda Dashtasmasete kvachadanda shukaya Anhonda kupe patitastamisre Kvachit Sometimes Nigirna Being swallowed Ajagara ahina by the great snake known as the python. Jana, the conditioned soul, not avaiti, understands, kinchit, anything, vipine, in the forest, Abavidha, pierced by arrows of suffering, Dashta, being bitten, Sma, indeed, Shete, lies down, Kravacha, sometimes, Dandashukai, by other kinds of snakes, Anta, blind, Andakupe, in a blind well, Patita, fallen, Tamisre, in a hellish condition of life. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for your mercy. The conditioned soul in the material world is sometimes swallowed by a python or crushed. At such a time he is left lying in the forest like a dead person devoid of consciousness and knowledge. Sometimes other poisonous snakes bite him, and being blind to his consciousness, he falls down into a dark well of hellish life with no hope of being rescued. Purport. When one becomes unconscious due to being bitten by a snake, one cannot understand what is taking place outside the body. This unconscious condition is the condition of deep sleep. Similarly, the conditioned soul is actually sleeping on the lap of the illusory energy, Bhaktivinoda Thakur Kattanidra Jao Maya Pisha Chirakole. Oh, living entity, how long do you sleep in this condition on the lap of the illusory energy? People do not understand that they are actually sleeping in this material world, being devoid of knowledge of spiritual life. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Eneche Garshoni Maya Nashivara Lagi Harinama Mahamantra Nautuma Magi. I have brought medicine to awaken every living entity from the perpetual sleep. Please receive the holy name of the Lord, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and awaken. The Katha Upanishad 1.3.14 also says, Utishta jagrata prapya varan nibodhata. O living entity, you are sleeping in this material world. Please get up and take advantage of your human form of life. The sleeping condition means loss of all knowledge. In Bhagavad Gita 269 it is also said, Yanishasara bhutanam tasham jagati samyami. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening to the self-control. Even in the higher planets, everyone is under the spell of the illusory energy. No one is really interested in the real values of life. The sleeping condition called kalasatpa, the time factor, keeps the conditioned soul in a state of ignorance. And therefore pure consciousness is lost. In the material world there are many blind wells, and if one falls down in one, there is no chance of being rescued. In a state of sleep, one remains perpetually bitten by some animals, especially snakes. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatapalakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaganaraganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Sadudam Vijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Svaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gaudavani Pracharine Nirdeshesha Shunyavani Paschatya Deshatarine. So, what is the Bhagavatam telling us? Bhagavatam is telling us we are asleep. So if you're sleeping, should you keep sleeping? Or should you wake up? Of course, if you're having a pleasant sleep, one may want to keep sleeping. But if you're having a nightmare, then it's very good if you wake up. So the fact that this material existence is a sort of sleeping condition of the living entity. And actually it is a nightmare. Then why do they think they're enjoying? It's a nightmare. Why do they think they're enjoying? Do you know why they think they're enjoying? Anandamaya Vyasat, the nature of the living entity is he is enjoying. If you put him in a suffering condition for millions and billions of lifetimes, because he has the nature to enjoy, sooner or later he will start imagining that he will start hallucinating, you see, that suffering is enjoyment. This principle was even stated by one author back in the 60s. Richard Farina, he wrote one book called I've Been Down So Long, it looks like up to me. So, this is our position. We've been suffering for so long, we imagine it's enjoyment. They say home sweet home, but actually it's bitter. It's not sweet at all. Because that's all they have, and they have this innate tendency. There's a homing tendency. It's like an animal, he can be taken away from his home, but he can get back without any roadmap. He has the ability to find his way back sometimes. There's stories of some dog, he's taken 100 miles away from his home, but he can get back because he has a homing, an intuitive sense of how to get home. So we have this innate tendency to want to get back to home. Because we're not able to get there, we imagine this place we're stuck right now, the material world, to be our home. That's all. We just imagine it. Just simply imagine it. In this condition we suffer trying to pretend that we're actually happy. The person is miserable, you ask him how he's doing. Fine. It's in the imagination. So how do we, the real bottom line is then, how do we get out of this sleeping condition? That's the real bottom line. We're being cheated by the illusory energy, thinking that we're getting actual enjoyment here, when actually we're just getting kicked by Maya again and again. That's all. Kicked again and again and again, and every minute we are being kicked. Adhyatmic, adhibautic, and adhidaic miseries were kicking us at every minute. The tax man doesn't get you, the mosquitoes will. Every minute we're being tortured in one way or another. Every minute we're being tortured. What did Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur say? No fit place for a gentleman to live. This is a nasty place. I remember Prabhupada was walking on the beach with my godbrother. He was Brahmachari at the time. Bhakti, he was Swarup Damodar Das Brahmachari. He became Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj. But he was PhD in biology, and Prabhupada would have discussions about science every day on the morning walks in Los Angeles. Now he is a scientist, is a PhD scientist disciple. So he had very interesting talks. He would have Bhakti Swarup Damodar argue from the scientific viewpoint, and then Prabhupada would defeat it. So Prabhupada was talking about sex life. You see, that sex life is the greatest pleasure here. They're going wild for sex pleasure. They're going crazy over sex. You see, that's the one enjoyment of the sex pleasure. And really, just working hard all day on a hellish job and a hellish commute. Finally, they get to come on a little sex pleasure. You see. That's their refuge, a little sex pleasure. But Prabhupada said, quoting that verse from Bhagavatam, Yan matanaydi grihamevi sukham vitucham. That which is considered the number one pleasure by the materialistic house lovers, namely sex pleasure, is 10th class pleasure, that vitucham is indeed insignificant. So Prabhupada explained that is the position of the sex, but how nasty it is. So even the most enjoyable thing, the heavenly pleasure of sex, is nasty business from the standpoint of the transcendental teaching. And what is the position of all the other types of pleasures? Even sex is nasty business. Disgusting, nasty business. Of course, the one uses it for producing children, that is another thing. For producing saintly children, it becomes transcendentalized. Otherwise, it's simply nasty business. So, then taking the position of a scientist, Swarup Damodar said, but Prabhupada, how to continue the species? If we say that sex is a nasty thing, how to continue the species? And Prabhupada said, you finish it, this condemned world. So, Prabhupada wasn't literally, he was making a philosophical point. He wasn't telling us that we had a household that to stop propagating. He wasn't saying that. He was just making a philosophical point. That we don't have any obligation to keep the material civilization going. We have no obligation. We have one obligation only, and that is to Krishna. To awaken the dormant Krishna consciousness within our hearts and the hearts of all living beings. This is the mood of Vaishnava. He doesn't want that one person should be suffering in this material existence. That is so beautifully expressed by Bhakta Prahlad in Bhagavatam. It's very nicely. Svasteyashu vishvasya kala prasidatam dayanti bhutani shivam mato daya manasta brajan mujitam madok sejaya veshitam no matarapya haitiki. May there be peace throughout the entire universe. May all envious persons become pacified. May everyone be engaged in bhakti yoga, because by engaging in devotional service, everybody will think of everybody else's welfare. Therefore, let us all engage in the service of the Supreme Transcendence, Lord Shri Krishna, and always remain absorbed in thoughts of Him. This is the prayer for us. That all envious persons be pacified. May there be peace throughout the entire universe. The devotee is not interested simply in his own salvation. He can't rest easy. Well, I'm saved now. Who cares? Everybody else goes to hell. It's not the mood of the Vaishnava. His mood is he cannot tolerate to see the suffering soul of this planet. He cannot tolerate it. Therefore, Krishna says, he said, Nachatasman manusheshu kashtin me priya krittamaha bhavita nachame dashmad anya priya tarobdi. Because of that compassion of the Vaishnava, there is no one more dear to me in this world, nor will there ever be anyone more dear to me than that person who has compassion upon the fallen soul of this world. Krishna gave very special recognition to such a devotee, or any devotee. Doesn't matter. Sannyasi, grahastha, brahmachari, married, single, European, Indian, American, has nothing to do with any new devotee, or senior devotee. It doesn't matter. Any devotee who genuinely wants to do something, who feels compassion for the fallen soul of this world, who genuinely wants to do something to help these poor people come out of their delusion, out of their sleep, out of their suffering conditions, smoking, drinking, womanizing, madness. Krishna gives special mercy to such a devotee. He showers his blessings upon such a devotee. So Prabhupada told us in America, he said, if you feel for your countrymen, then spread this Krishna consciousness movement. They are dying. So if you feel for your Danes, your fellow Danes, then spread this Krishna consciousness movement all over Denmark, in every town, every village, that everyone become Krishna conscious in Denmark. That is the Krishna consciousness movement. This gives the greatest pleasure to Prabhupada. I know from my own experience, I had some communications with Prabhupada a few times. A few very precious communications I had with Prabhupada. In letters. Very, very precious thing. My greatest treasures are letters from Prabhupada. The time when he expressed the most pleasure and satisfaction was when the devotees, I had joined in our Austin temple. Vishnu John Swami had come and opened up the temple in 1971 in Austin, Texas.